Colonel, we're back. Codename BF1 HDR. Alright, so we're back. Part 2. I got my electricity back, which is cool. After 7 days, finally, I'm able to go back to my man cave and do these videos. What we're going to do here is we're going to play a little bit through multiplayer of Battlefield 1 on PlayStation 4 Pro HDR version. This is the new HDR update. I believe Xbox One, PlayStation 4 Pro, and PC, they all support HDR. However, one's going to be more superior than the other. Obviously, PC version will be more superior due to native 4K and HDR and higher textures and graphics. So that's understandably so. But I'm pretty sure PlayStation 4 Pro version, of course, is going to be more superior than the Xbox One S version. But all that's going to change once the Xbox One X comes out. And X will have a patch update that will give us that better textures, dynamic light with HDR. Okay. So we're waiting for this thing to load. It's loading. And once it loads, we're going to play through it a little bit, and then I'm going to do some calibration. I'm going to check and see what I can do with the this television. This is a Chinese television brand, TCL. Oh, and I'll tell you right off the bat here, I've noticed that when you have HDR on, there's so much like depth of vision. Like, you know, you see more like three-dimensionally, you see things with HDR. Things pop. There's more depth of field that you see when the HDR is turned on.
We have lost objective Duff.
Bottom line is, it just looks better. Okay, let's start from here. Oh yeah, this looks much better in HDR, man. And people are going to say, well, how do you know it's HDR? Well, this is how I know. I'll tell you right now. It says right there, 4K, 60 Hertz, HDR10. And it even tells you it's HDR10 right here. Now, let me adjust my low light so you guys can see a little bit better. Like that. I'm going to adjust my low light. Maybe that's too much of a low light. How about this? Hold on. Like right there. You can see the clouds. See how the clouds are moving? That's due to the HDR. The HDR will definitely add that effect. Can I shoot him from here? Oh man, if I could make that shot, that'd be awesome, dude. That'd be freaking awesome if I could make that shot. Hold on. Ah, shit. He got me. He got me. But my first impressions are, it looks really good in HDR. There's definitely this son of a bitch. Where did he go? Got him. Got him. Sons of bitches. They came down the hill. Like a bunch of hillbillies came down the hill and they slaughter us. Bunch of hillbilly farmers out there. All right, let's go over here a little bit. Let's try different scenery. Remember, I'm just checking the graphics here, the HDR. I'm not really doing a gameplay of like competing or anything like that. I just want to test to see HDR. It definitely adds to the improvement. I'm not gonna lie. It definitely adds to the improvement of the experience. Like you can see, you notice the clouds when the clouds are passing by. You notice the shadow of the clouds, and that's pretty cool. The flares of the sun, and it just looks just much better. The HDR definitely helps. Having HDR, it's mandatory for all the games, in my opinion. It's just, it makes the game look better.
We have lost objective
You know what I mean? It just adds more to the son of a bitch. The recoil on this gun sucked. It just adds more to the experience when you're playing on the HDR. Alright, we'll do some more gameplay and then we're gonna jump into calibrating process here. It's gonna be hard for you guys to see. Obviously, it's impossible for you to see HDR through a camera, but you'll just have to trust me when I tell you that it looks fantastic. It definitely adds to the experience. Colonel, where's Naomi? Naomi, what did you put in my nano suit? I'm feeling a bit sketchy. Naomi, can you hear me? This is Snake. Operation BF1 HDR. Commencing the mission. I don't know, my Snake voice is not working today. It's not good enough. But I tried it my best. I gave it my best. Oh shit. Shit, Snake's getting killed over here. Alright, so let's jump into calibrating process here. My own custom picture settings, calibrating process. We're gonna go way up here, away from the battlefield, because remember, I'm calibrating my own custom picture settings here, because that's what this video is really about. It's about looking at the HDR, testing it, and then using custom picture settings on it. So let's jump right into it right now. Let's do that. Remember, this is TCL. Alright, so the first mistake we have here, obviously, it's on a default. It's my TV brightness, it's a normal. That's a no-no, because since this is the HDR, you gotta leave that on the brighter. So, leave the TV brightness on bright, and the HDR on bright. So, always make sure that you have these two very high, because this TV only supports 700 to 800 nits. I think 700 nits is the highest peak you're gonna get of brightness with this TV, which is pretty good for a budget TV. Remember, this is a $600 TV. It's not like a $1,600 or $1,800 TV. So let's go back down here. So remember, it has to be TV brightness bright and picture mode bright HDR. So HDR mode has to be bright and TV brightness has to be bright. Now we're gonna go back to our advanced picture settings. Here we are, picture mode bright HDR. Local contrast, meaning local dimming, has to be high so you can take the advantage of the local dimming zones, which are 72, and this TV has the best local dimming zones on LEDs I have seen on any TV, honestly. Backlit for a budget TV, I mean, come on. Backlit has to be maximum. Contrast has to be maximum, and brightness you leave it at 50. And you say, well, why do you have to leave the brightness at 50? Because you already got the local dimmings, 72 zones, to give you those deep dark levels. So you don't want to mess with the brightness. You want to leave the brightness alone. This is why you never want to touch that brightness. If you move that brightness to 40, then you're going to crush your deep dark levels. So you don't ever want to touch this. Leave it like this. Sharpness, you can leave it at 0, but honestly, I feel that we can move it up a bit here to get a little bit more of a detail. I'd say let's leave it at 10. Color at 70. Actually, I don't mind having a color here at 70. It's fine. I will leave the color at 70 here. I mean, if you want to, you can move it down to 65. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it at 63. I'm going to leave it at 63. Sharpness at 10. Right here. See that little threshold right here? I'm not going above that threshold. No, I'm going way too down below it. So I'm like right within that threshold. So like 10, it's perfect here. Because you already have that upscaled 4K dynamic resolution. So you already got the great resolution here. So you got the sharp images as it is. So you don't need to outline it too much. If you're watching a digital content, then you might have to like move that sharpness a little bit higher, but I would say sharpness at 10. All right, so let's continue. And for those of you who want to see this logo, again, I can do that for you. I can show you the logo, that HDR logo. There it is. I know you guys want to see that logo. There it is, HDR logo. So you know it does support HDR. All right, so let's go do some playthrough here. I mean, everything looks more three-dimensional with HDR. Like, you see more depth of field. You see clouds more vivid. Like, everything's just more three-dimensional, if you know what I mean. Colonel, do you understand? This game looks three-dimensional. How's that possible, Colonel? Talk to me. Naomi, where are you? Deep throat. Liquid. I don't know. Oh shit, that liquid just shot me. Shot me with a liquid bullet. Make sure you guys pause this video and write these custom picture settings down. Because when you do that, then you can try them out. This way I don't have to constantly, you know, tell you what I'm using. It's better if you just pause the video and write them down and try them out. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't mean that you guys will like it. Some of you will, some of you will not, depending on where you're sitting, like depending on where your television is positioned and how far from the television you're sitting, okay? All of these things will accumulate based on where you are. Like, how big is your TV? How far from the TV are you sitting? All of these elements will have to take notice. Oh, look, there's a plane. I can shoot him. Colonel, I'm gonna shoot this plane. It carries the nanosuits. Oh, he's badly damaged. No, my snake voice is not working. I don't know what's going on. The bloody thing's not working. According to David Hayter, like, well, this is what he said. You have to have your vocal cords way deep down on your throat, within your throat, and that's what you have to do. That's the key thing in order for you to achieve that snake Colonel. Like, you know, you have to talk like way deep down, you know, which is hard to do. Believe me, my head's off to David Hayter because he nailed that thing. But after how many years? 20 years? I mean, yeah, you are him, pretty much. He said he could do it. He could talk like that all the time. Like, he could never talk to his normal voice and just talk in a snake voice. But it would be kind of weird. He said, like, you know, not leaving that character would just scare his wife and everybody else, and it'd be just kind of weird. So, Colonel, that's what he said. But he's a cool guy. You know, David Hayter's a cool guy. You know, he does agree to do, even with the small YouTube channels, he does agree to do interviews and what you call it, talk to, not just to high-end publicity media, but he talks to, like, even independent media, even you know, medium YouTube channels. So he talks to everybody. You know, he's a cool dude, you know. And here you can see totally the big advantage of HDR here. So we're gonna go ahead and check another map, the one with more sunshine and whatnot. So we're gonna check that out, see how it looks, and I'm gonna show you again the calibration for my custom picture settings for Battlefield 1 on a TCL. Okay, I will try Samsung KS8000 as well. There'll be a video on that coming up also. So I'm gonna try to see what type of calibrations I can do on the Samsung KS8000. I'm not forgetting Samsung KS8000, okay? Alright, so we are on a different map right now. We're gonna start from here, dude. We're gonna jump on the plane. How about that? Oh my god. I'm not good at like flying a plane, but let's give it a shot. This looks fantastic, man, in HDR. Oh yeah, you definitely see the benefit of HDR here. Just looks fantastic. Oh, I gotta come. Oh, god damn it. But looks great. Looks great. Let's skip through this. Let's go back over here in about 4 seconds. We're gonna respawn. Colonel, we're gonna respawn right now. Here we go. Oh yeah, I mean, look, everything just looks better. This game looked great as it is already on PlayStation 4 Pro. But now with HDR, you're truly going to appreciate this Battlefield 1 with HDR. Call of Duty, are you taking notice? Call of Duty World War II? You definitely need to add that HDR. You better add that HDR with 4K on Xbox One X and PlayStation 4 Pro. So if you're not doing it, then you're not doing a job, Activision. Sledgehammer, make sure you do that. Ah, shit. And I know it's kind of hard for you to see this through camera, as I mentioned this earlier, but you'll just have to trust me. It just looks better. HDR, it's a mandatory for all the games. And I do mean all the games, not just this one. I mean, every single one of the games should be in HDR. That's my honest opinion on it. Like that Formula One just looks glorious with that. If you didn't have that HDR, that Formula One wouldn't look that good. That's what makes it look great, you know. HDR really adds to that detail, the depth of field, that three-dimensional look, the natural look that you want, and it truly adds that detail. And it's mandatory to have that HDR on all the games. And I'm pretty sure Call of Duty World War II will have the 4K in HDR, especially in the Xbox One X version. I'm really curious to see how all three versions are going to stack up. I'm going to try all three. I'm going to try Xbox One X version versus PlayStation 4 Pro version and the PC version. I didn't see that sucker coming. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how well that's going to look. Alright, so this video is going to end pretty soon. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys my custom picture settings. Also, please keep in mind, I'm not doing a gameplay here. I'm not competing here. I'm just trying to show you and give you my thoughts on HDR and Battlefield 1. Okay, if I was going to play this game, I would be more concentrated and I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't, you know, you guys get it. I'm not doing a gameplay of competition here. I'm just showing you my thoughts on HDR and Battlefield 1. So, but the haters will still, you know, will bring their salty tears to me and say, you suck at Battlefield 1. Well, did I ever say I was great at Battlefield 1? No. So, right there, you lose credibility. All right, now let me show you again, one more time. So what you want to do, obviously, you want to keep it on bright, both TV brightness. Keep both TV brightness on a bright and HDR mode on the bright. So both of these has to be on the bright. Because remember, it's HDR. Same thing here, it's HDR. You got to have the backlit 100, contrast 100, maximum. Brightness, you have to leave it at 50 because you already have the local dimming zones at high right here. So you already got those local dimming zones at 72. So you want to make sure you leave the brightness at 50. Sharpness at 10. You can go to 15, but honestly, I don't think it's necessary. I would just leave it at 10. 10 is more than enough. Color 63. You can go to 70, but I like to keep it at 63 because I don't want to oversaturate my colors. Color temperature, I always leave it at normal because I don't like that cold blue temperature tone of color, nor do I like that warm yellow sepia color temperature of color. Okay, so I like to keep it balanced in the normal. And game mode, I'm not using a game mode because I haven't updated that yet. I need to do that update for the game mode, so I'll leave that off. So that's my settings right here. So there you have it, guys. It's Battlefield 1 HDR custom picture settings calibrations on it. Hopefully you enjoy this video, and we'll do some NBA 2K18 early tip-off later on. Okay? All right, Colonel, we're done with this video. Thank you. All right, guys, it's me. I'm out. Mr. 4K Upscaler.